Hello, friends, and welcome to the space where we discuss business, landscaping, beer, and everything in between. I'm your host, Heather Gerard from My Landscape Artist here in London, Ontario, Canada. And this is Season 2 of Hops and Hedges. Stay tuned after each episode for a message from our sponsor, ext.tech. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in.
There you go. With me on the show today, from all the way from London, Ontario, possibly down the street from me, I don't actually know exactly where you are, is Heather O'Shea from Greener Thumb Consultation and Design. So Heather, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So it's kind of cool. I'm Heather, you're Heather. Anybody listening to this in the car hopefully won't get too confused.
Yeah, too many Heathers.
Too many Heathers. Is there ever enough Heathers? I don't think so. So Heather, we actually met because I think I was doing a talk at your Hort Society, or was it for the Master Gardeners? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, wait, your name's Heather? Or you came up to me, I think. And you're like, my name's Heather, and I just started a business. I'm like, shut up. No way. So you just started, is it just this year? Just 2025?
Yep, just this year. It's been kind of in the back of my mind for a few years, and this was the year I finally made the website go live and started it going.
Oh my gosh. Well, hats off to you. I think we're going to dig into that a little bit more, but starting your business isn't just something you kind of decide to do one morning. It's kind of years of, I didn't want to do this. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not going to start a business. And then something happens when you're like, oh, my life has prepared me for this moment. I guess I'm starting a business. Right? So your website is greenerthumb.ca. I do recommend anybody who's listening to check her out. But for those who are tuning in and maybe aren't familiar with you or your business, can you give us the lowdown as to who you are and what your company does?
Where I came from? So as you said, we met at a Master Gardener meeting. So like many of us during when COVID hit, I went back to my gardening roots. I've always been a gardener. I come from a family of gardeners, and I started listening to podcasts because all of a sudden my walking partner, it was no longer acceptable to walk with a partner. So I was walking with myself. So I started listening to podcasts instead and thought, you know what, I think I want to become a master gardener. So I went back to school to do that. And in the process of taking those couple of classes, just fell in love with the whole horticultural educational field. So I finished up my horticultural diploma and landscape design diploma, and then decided that maybe I should do something with this. So here I am today with a fresh start of something maybe new.
Here you are. And so with the landscape design and the horticultural technician, you said that was through Guelph University?
Yeah, they have online programs to do the diplomas for both of those.
Excellent. And so are you familiar with the landscape architecture program at Guelph?
No, it was all online. So it was all, I did it all during COVID, so it was all online. I still work full time at another job. So
gotcha.
Evenings, weekends, nights, the whole works to get the schooling done while I was still working. So
I totally get that. My husband is currently finishing a diploma, and it's all online, and he works full time. It's like when I was at school full time. I could not imagine juggling full-time work and online schooling. So kudos to you.
A lot of work, a lot of late nights.
Yeah, no kidding. So, and you said, during COVID that you thought about maybe becoming a master gardeners, but there's been kind of this innate habit or passion for horticulture for you. Like when did this all start for you?
Oh, always. I was always like I said, I came from a family of gardeners. So it was something I always did. I was always asked for advice by people, friends and family. They were always asking me questions.
Yeah.
So just when I decided I maybe should pursue it a little further, I recognized that this was something that it's always stuck in my brain, right? When you've got to find that thing that you're really good at and it just comes easy and naturally to me. And gardening and all planty things just seem to stick in my brain, and those stupid information is just in there. So
right.
I needed to do something more with it.
So out of curiosity, so you said you were studying and then you were working full time. So what is the full-time job that you were or are doing? Is it related at all to horticulture?
No. No. So mostly I'm like an office manager. I do a lot of invoicing and shipping, and as in the company we manufacture and sell bagpipes. So no,
Wow, that is a niche,
remotely.
Heather.
That is a niche. That is a niche. Yeah, in North America, that's definitely a niche. So
Wow.
well, company, it's another entrepreneur that they have a small company.
Yep.
There's a couple that started it more than 45 years ago.
Oh
So
my gosh.
really, really nice, fun little small company. So
Yeah.
it's been great. It's been really great. I've been working there for this time around. I've worked for them a couple times, but this time around
Yeah.
is 15 years almost. So
Holy smokes. Well, if I ever am in the need for bagpipes, I now know who I need to get in contact with.
yeah, not at all what people are expecting from me.
No,
I don't
but it's
play.
so interesting.
I
And you
don't
don't
play.
play? No? Have you ever blown on one?
No, because it sounds bad if you don't know what you're doing.
Right? I feel like it's a bucket list thing, like that everybody should just blow on bagpipes once just to know like, okay, do I want to like get better at this or is this enough? I
A
don't
lot of
know.
work.
It
A
would
lot
be
of work.
a life experience for sure. Um, so I also wanted to talk to you about, I mean, so many things. I think it's so interesting when we met, because after I did my talk, I think I was talking about the future of garden design and AI and computers and how that's gonna, software and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, oh, my name's Heather too, and I'm doing garden coaching and consulting in the same city as you. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I'm so, again, just excited for you and just starting out because it just made me think and remember about me starting out, just because, again, I'm also Heather, and 5 years ago, I was like, well, I guess I'm doing this thing. And it's all very exciting. It's nerve-wracking, but it's also exciting. And I did have a uh oh, sorry, my brain just stopped. Sometimes that happens with the ADHD. But a business coach was telling me how, you know, just start. Just start.
Hard.
What's the worst thing that can happen? Just start. Just do the thing. Just try. Because so
Yeah.
many people, I think about maybe starting or trying something and they don't.
Yes.
And the biggest step is just to try.
Do it. Yeah, I've put it off for a long time. This has been in the works for probably 3 years.
Yeah.
Kept finding any excuse to put it off that, the website wasn't ready or whatever. And then finally the website was ready and I just made it live and away I went. So, and here
That's
I
awesome.
am.
And so, one of the things, because that just it reminds me that in your questionnaire, I usually ask guests if they've had a hurdle or a challenge, and you
Yep.
mentioned about getting the website, up and running and functional,
Yep.
but how this person that you've brought on has actually also helped in making you accountable.
From the website themselves. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I think you said something about like the person who's assisting with this is also a great person for accountability.
Yeah, so it's probably, I'm trying to remember what I even said in the
Oh,
questionnaire.
sorry.
My web developer.
Yep.
Because I mean, so my background is actually graphic design. That's what I did, 100 years ago when I first left high school.
So graphic
So
design to bagpipes to plants.
right. Yeah.
Yep.
So design background is definitely in my wheelhouse. I paint and things like that too. So
Yeah.
I always thought that I would be able to do the website myself because, I should be able to figure it out. And I fought with it for a few years before I finally
Hmm.
gave up and decided, if I was going to do this, I had to have someone else do it for me. So,
Right.
and he was really, really great to just keep me on track and do what I asked him to do, and we worked really well together. So
Yeah.
that was helpful.
I think that's such a huge part in probably not just business, but life too, that knowing when you need to ask for help, right?
Yes.
So for me personally, so I paint, I do theater,
Yeah.
right? So like my background, I did not think I was going to end up in plants or owning my own business. But I got to a point where it was like, okay, well, like I'm now 5 years in business and I'm looking at my books and going, I still don't know what this means. Like I need a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
And so it was just this week, hired a bookkeeper. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, enough of trying to, you can't do it all yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's time to get somebody who does the thing better than you to do
Knows
the thing.
better. Yeah. Yeah, for sure,
So,
especially bookkeeping because you do it wrong and you're going to find yourself in trouble.
yeah, absolutely. And so with your, out of curiosity, who's the host of your website? Like what is it through? Is it WordPress or is it
Through WordPress. Yeah.
WordPress?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. We could definitely probably have another conversation about all of that in another episode. I did WordPress with one of my previous employers.
Yeah.
Their thing was through WordPress or WordPress, and I'm currently using Wix
Okay.
.com because I wanted to do it myself,
Yeah.
and I find it actually pretty easy to use. But
Yeah, that's just
um,
right. So I managed like the work website and I might manage the Master Gardener website and they're both on WordPress. So, well, mine should
oh
be on
yeah, you got to stick with the same thing. Oh my gosh,
thing. So I don't need you to learn another platform. So that's
absolutely.
where I landed there. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because there. So
What is the KISS, the keep it simple stupid,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Especially when you're an entrepreneur,
yeah.
we don't need to juggle more balls than we already have up in the air. If we can reduce the number of balls we're juggling, we're
Yep.
going to do that.
Yep. I
So,
already got enough going on. I don't need more in my life.
totally with you there. So Heather, before we get into more of the deep dive of your experience and who you are and the stuff that you do, I'm wondering what you're drinking.
I brought with me, this is as close as I come to beer. It's kind of hard to see.
It looks like,
It looks like beer. It's a
yeah,
radler.
nice.
As close as I get to beer.
Yeah.
I'm not a beer drinker, more of a wine and cider and all those, hard vodka and gin and stuff. So
Yep.
this is as close as I come to beer.
Excellent. I too, I'm a fan of the Empress gin. Have you ever tried that one?
No.
So Empress gin comes out of British Columbia and they use the sweet pea flower. So it
Oh,
makes the gin purple when you buy it.
yeah.
But if you add a little bit of lemon juice to it and stir it with ice, it turns bright pink
Yeah.
because of the citrus in it. So very cool. And so
Yeah.
what kind of rat is that, the Waterloo Radler? That's the only one that
Waterloo.
comes to mind.
Yeah.
See, they have a niche though. Like when
Yeah.
people say Radler, I automatically assume it's the Waterloo Radler.
I've tried some of the other ones and just keep coming back to the Waterloo one. So,
Yeah, don't fix it if it isn't broken, right?
nope.
So I'm actually drinking a Run Wild IPA from Athletic Brewing,
Oh,
and this is an alcohol-free IPA.
oh,
So this is one of three that I like. I can't think of the one has it's a green can. Sober Carpenter.
okay.
Sober Carpenter has a good one. The Athletic one, and then Corona has a Sun Brew, and it's a 0% Corona. That's really good.
Okay.
So,
My husband's a beer drinker. He's the one that he likes all especially IPAs from any small little craft brewery he can find. So,
okay, well, we'll have to get him on the show to promote his business.
yeah, he's marketing.
Okay. Well, Heather, cheers to you.
Cheers.
And that's actually a really pretty glass. What does it say? Safa.
It says Sofa Sours, so it's actually from Quiddy Vitty in Newfoundland.
Okay. Very cool. Well, cheers to you. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, that's so yummy. Mm-mm-mm.
Perfect for a hot summer day.
Oh yeah. So we're interviewing today at it's about 2:30 right now in the afternoon on a Saturday.
Yeah,
It is Saturday, right? Oh my
it's
gosh.
Saturday. Yep.
If
Beautiful
you're an
Saturday.
entrepreneur, the day's just like, I don't know what day it is. But yeah, I'm gonna be going for a nap after this. I love my naps.
Yes.
So wondering about um mentors. So I always ask people because I'm just fascinated by the sheer number of us who got to where we are because of other people. You know, that there's something to be said about wherever you are in life, you didn't get there alone, whether it was your parents pushing or pulling you
Yep.
or ignoring you. That also gets you to where you are.
Yep.
And so you actually mentioned um, Joe Lample,
Yeah.
who's also known as Joe Gardner. So can you talk a little bit about him and how he's inspired you?
Yeah. So he was one of those podcasts that I found when I started walking by myself. And he's just like everything that I would like to be. He's just knows his stuff. He's super friendly. He's done it all. He's gone from TV to podcasts to radio to, publishing articles. He does it all. So I mean, that's what I would ultimately strive to do would be to just be like Joe Lample and have everybody recognize you as a I don't know, an authoritative, not authoritative, that sounds too harsh, but you
No,
know,
but
like,
like an
ah,
expert in the field, right?
yeah, yeah,
So that's certainly something, it comes to mind. One of my many mentors, I've had so many people help me along the way, but Jen Todd, she runs primarily a women's business coaching firm out of Woodstock called the Shift Collective.
okay,
And she has this concept she talks about a lot about being the linchpin in your industry, right? So it's this thing where, you're the linchpin that holds everything together. So it doesn't matter which area of this business, industry, or profession you're in, if you need something, you go to the linchpin to make that connection,
okay,
right? So it's like being that expert in the field who's also a connector and a
yeah,
networker,
yeah,
and you're good at putting the pieces or the people together in order to make things happen for
yeah.
people.
Well, as an
So,
entrepreneur too, right? Because you don't know it all and you can't do it all. So you do
no,
have all those other people around you to either ask or send someone else to, or you have to know like a big network of people.
absolutely. And I think in some areas, maybe as an entrepreneur, for example, if you're selling something, maybe it's beer, maybe you're selling beer, right? That is one product that you're selling. So maybe it's different types of that same product that you're selling. But I find as garden coaches, garden designers, consultants, we have to wear a lot of hats.
Hmm.
It's never just, um, none of us just go into people's houses and help them with their edible garden.
No,
Maybe it's a perennial garden. Maybe it's a slope. Maybe they have erosion. Maybe
yeah,
they have a flooded basement. Maybe they're having marital issues. Like we
I want to stay away
face
from that
it
one.
all, right? But you don't know until you walk into it,
Yeah,
right? They call us for a landscape design and then we show up and it's like, "Oh, there's like deeper problems here that maybe somebody else should be called."
someone
Right?
else will be helping out here, not just you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a really interesting spot I think we're in as garden coaches and consultants because it's never just about one type of garden. It's never just about plants, and it's
No,
never just about people. It's
no.
a little bit of
Mhm.
all of that.
Well, and so many people have such emotional ties to certain plants too. So you go into somebody's yard and so for me, I do a lot of consultation, right? So I don't
Yep.
do any um, digging or anything in the ground. It's a consultation. So going into somebody's yard and they've got a tree that's dying, but it was planted by their late husband. Well,
How do you tell them, right? Like
really
it's
emotional for them that that tree could be dying, and yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does have a lifespan as well, and it's hard for them.
yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's about offering other alternatives.
Yeah.
So I know I've actually got a client right now who has this amazing blood good Japanese maple that is over 30 years old.
Okay.
But three-quarters of it is dead.
Yeah.
Like there's one trunk, and it's not even a trunk. Like it's a multi-stem, but there's one branch that has leaves on it.
Yep.
And it's like even if you prune the rest of the tree off, that limb is probably the last of it.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to anything.
Back.
So you can try and you're offering those suggestions. So we can cut down the tree and maybe it will sucker. And then maybe you'll have a Japanese maple shrub next year
Yeah. Maybe.
because Japanese maples will do that. But the other thing too, it might be, well, it's not about cutting it down, stump grinding it, and completely getting rid of it. Maybe we can cut it down, leave it as a stump so that it's still there, and maybe you can put a beautiful bowl of annuals on it
Yeah.
or sculpture. Like there's
Some
other things we can do, but
grounding.
we can't change the fact that the tree's dead,
Oh, no, I
right?
know. No.
So it's yeah, people do they are connected to their plants.
I have one. So
And
I recently moved.
yep.
I have one that I have a rose at my old house, which hasn't sold yet. So I'm stuck with it because it's a rose that my grandmother had and moved from house to house to house. They were in the army. So every time she moved,
Oh
she took this
wow.
rose with her. All of my family, my aunts, uncles, everybody has a piece of this rose, but it is a brutal, brutal climbing rose has tiny little thorns and it's just terrible to be around.
Yeah.
But I'm stuck. Do I bring a piece of it here or do I leave it behind? So you do end up with emotional ties to some plants as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, for no reason other than my grandmother had it forever.
Right? But family's important.
Yeah.
Where we come from is really important.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that maybe sets apart garden coaches and consultants like yourself and myself with other, I would say, landscapers who are more into just concrete and putting in pools,
Yep.
right? Because I've been to consultations
Yep.
where I'm there to fix a problem because they've hired a contractor and they
Mhm.
came in with a skid steer and completely destroyed everything.
Yep.
Like some of these plants have history.
Yeah.
Um, we can't just go in and take everything out. Like that's not ah,
No.
I get very it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Um, so aside from plants, having meaning and historical value and that, curious about your favorite plants. Because on your questionnaire you did mention natives, of course, supporting the biodiversity, but also hostas.
Yeah.
And I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I love hostas.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. So favorite plant, we shouldn't feel guilty about loving something that's not native. It's
Right.
still a plant. It's okay.
So at my other house at one point, I had over 40 different varieties of hostas.
That's impressive.
That was a lot. And when I came here, I only purposely brought three or four,
Hmm.
three or four. So some of them, so hostas, they're all named, right? They're all
Yep.
different. So one of the top hosta breeders that used to be here in Canada was a very good friend of my husband's grandmother. And
Wow.
she created one for my husband's grandmother. And then when she passed away, she created one is called Memories of Dorothy. So it was Dorothy and Memories of Dorothy. So
Oh,
clearly I had to keep those ones.
yeah.
Like real strong tie to those. I brought one that's my daughter's favorite plant, and I brought one that it's named Elizabeth, and her middle name is Elizabeth. So,
Yeah.
there was some that I had to bring, and I was trying to avoid using them here, and there's not as much shade here as there was at my other house. So
Yep.
have quite the same place, but I just love the textures and the colors and the sizes, and I really, really love hostas.
Yeah. There's so many of them.
Oh,
Like it's another thing that you can't really get bored.
no,
I'm I was gonna say a bit of a plant nerd, but anybody who's listened to the show knows that I'm maybe slightly more than just a little plant nerd.
I'm more than a plant nerd.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. We're gonna get along just fine. But I have a little bit of a problem buying hostas just because of the name. So, like we have right now, we've got Wolverine hosta and a
Yeah.
Princess Leia Ajuga,
Okay.
just because they're nerdy names.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a problem.
Great. I know. I really do love them. And so far I haven't found natives that perform to the same design elements as hostas, right? I haven't
Right.
found yet that it's going to stay the contained size or have the bigger leaf, or so they don't feel that same quality that
Yeah.
hostas fill. So,
The one thing that comes to mind is, and now I want to Google it before I put my foot in my mouth, but smooth aster.
okay.
It does have a very like a small, or maybe it's not smooth aster.
They
No,
have
that doesn't
it's
look
a
like
much
it.
smaller leaf though, right? The
Yep.
asters are all very small. So they don't have that same
No,
big,
but there's a broadleaf one.
oh,
And
is
that's
it?
what I thought it was called smooth aster, but I'm looking it up and that's not oh my gosh, that's so funny. Talk about segue. Yep, I thought it was smoothly faster, but it's clearly not. I will get back to you. Because there is an Ontario native and the leaves are quite large.
Yeah.
Still not as big as a hosta though,
I know. When some
right?
like a mayapple, right? It'll do great in the beginning and it has nice big leaves, but then this
Then
time
dies back.
here, there's nothing there.
Yeah, bloodroot is another one. Really interesting leaf early on, but dies back. So,
The ginger, wild
yep,
ginger doesn't. It stays that nice big mound year round. So that's nice, but it's only one color and it's only one size.
yep, and it's a matte leaf, like the European ginger. It's not native, but it has that glossy foliage, which really brightens up a shade garden. So it's
I
not
know.
native, but sometimes,
I
yeah,
know.
I'm not a diehard native
Pasta.
gardener. I'm a let's mix it up,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
I
So
strive for like 75% natives.
yeah, that's
That's
about where I'm at.
I never get that far, but that's my goal.
Yep.
There's just, you can't do everything with natives. You can't, there's just not the same textures and colors as what's available out there in the world. So,
No. Well, and the other thing too, so people want low maintenance slash tidy
mhm,
plantings.
not native.
So for me personally, I like a cottage garden look, right? I
Yep,
like all the wildflowers where they're all grown in together. But
yep.
you need to select, in my opinion, like five or less varieties. You're not planting 12 different types of wildflowers because it'll look like weeds.
Yeah.
But if you plant five different wildflowers that are native and you mix them together, you only have five different plants of stuff growing in a contained area. And it can be wild, but it's still consistent.
It's, yeah, you see the waves of color going through, but you also have to be
Yeah.
selective. Some of the wild bergamot, right? It is going to explode and take over and be a thug that you maybe
Yeah.
don't want in a small little garden, but native and beautiful, but you just, right plant, right
Yeah.
place.
Right plant, right place. And I say it often that wherever possible, get your clumpers, not your spreaders, right? And if you do need something to fill in quickly, make sure it's contained. It's
Yeah.
okay to get something that's aggressive and maybe grows faster, but make sure it's contained or it's going to keep spreading like into your lawn.
Not going to be a low maintenance thing.
No, no. It's like, do you want low maintenance or do you want crazy native?
Yeah.
Because you can't really have this concept of manicured native, I don't think. You can have a cottage garden that's natives,
Yes.
but
There are
people are
some that
like, that looks wild. It's like, well, it's not. But
are,
okay. Um, anyway, so you just started the
yes.
business this year. It was a long time coming,
Yes.
right? So you're working mostly in an office and then decided to do this. Was gardening and horticulture, like I know you said that it's always been a part of your life
Yep.
and people would ask you for advice and stuff. But like, do you have memories of working in the garden with someone or did your family go for like outdoor outings or was there trips? I'm always curious as to where did this origin of connection to nature like start for you? Like
Oh,
as young as you can remember.
I've always been an outside person.
Yep.
Always, ever since I was very little. We did a lot of camping when I was a kid, so we were always either outside camping, outside at the cottage, outside at home, right? We grew up in different times that there wasn't Xboxes and everything else. You went outside and played.
Hmm.
So I was always outside, and my mom had a big vegetable garden, and I definitely remember having to go out and pick the beans, which, at the time was a chore and didn't want to do. But um, she had a forsythia that just, it just drove me nuts because forsythia grows like mad. So I would always be trimming that stupid thing because I didn't like the shape of it because it would just grow crazy.
Yep.
So I think I just was always an outside person. I just always needed to be out in nature doing something. So
Hmm.
I think that's just sort of the grounding, and that's where the gardening has come now, that it's more being a steward of the land that we have and taking care of it. And I mean, these past couple of weeks when it's been so hot, it's killed me that I can't go outside in my garden because it's just too hot. It's
Yep.
too hot. So today is great because it's finally not quite as humid and you can actually go outside and get some stuff done again. So yeah,
Yep.
just I
It's
think
yeah, I like how you mentioned, the phrase being a steward of the land that we have. That's been something that's been really big for me personally in my own journey.
yep,
And I've learned a lot from um, a lot of Indigenous peoples too
mhm,
in Ontario, and how they view the land is
yep,
quite fascinating to me because um, I think I'm speaking for myself, but I grew up thinking and being taught that land is a commodity. It's something that you purchase from
yep,
someone else, and then you own it and it's yours to
right,
do with as you will.
right.
And there's, I think, a shift happening. It's very slow to happen, unfortunately, but we're coming to really understand just how much life is on the land that we have.
Mm,
And it's not just about how much square foot you have and how much concrete patio you can fit in,
yeah,
between the construction envelope
yep,
as a designer, but it's like, okay, well, what plants do I have? What kind of biodiversity can I supply? What's the stormwater management system happening? Like,
yes,
there are things living in
yep.
the quote unquote land that we own,
Yes. And we can do
right?
more. All of us can do more to improve what's going on in our little parcel that we're temporarily on.
That's the temporarily on. That's the thing. We're
Yeah.
just here temporary.
Temporary.
Nothing's permanent. So can we just be a steward of what we have while we're here?
Yeah.
It's a good way to think of it. Um, so moving on along here on your questionnaire, I'm always also fascinated and interested to know what people's challenges are, because something that has really come to light on this podcast is that these challenges were not in silos. So people who have been in business for 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years are still experiencing the challenges that the newish ones like yourself and me are also experiencing.
Hmm.
And I loved what you actually mentioned, the challenge of knowing what to charge for your services.
Mhm.
And this is such a huge thing. So as a Landscape Ontario member, I think you mentioned too, you're also a Landscape Ontario member?
Student, like as part of being in school, I was able to get a student membership. So I haven't purchased my
Excellent.
own for the business yet, but
Yep.
I will eventually. But
Awesome.
hmm,
Well, call me, hook you up,
yeah.
make it happen. There's actually, I should email you after before I forget, but there's an event in the fall that you should attend. And if you want to go, we'll just carpool.
Okay.
So up in the Muskokas. But this, how to charge,
Yeah.
this is such a relevant thing. Like in
For all
Landscape
business.
Ontario,
Yeah.
all businesses for
All
sure,
business.
but especially in our profession,
Hmm.
it is incredible how many times this comes up.
Hmm.
So I wanted to assure you on the show and anybody else who's listening that everybody is wondering this.
Yeah.
What do I charge for the services that I do?
Yeah.
I know for me personally, when I first started, and it's a little bit cringe for me to even put this out on the internet, but when I started, I was charging $25 for a site visit.
Oh.
I know. It took me a long time to learn that that's not what you do.
Yep.
So, because when I started my business with an employee mindset,
Yes.
right? As an employee at my previous employer, I was making about $21.50 an hour.
Yep.
As a landscape manager with 6 years of experience. I don't want to get into it.
Yep.
But so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to set my own hourly wage. It's going to be $25.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is too low. So
Yes.
if anybody is listening and you're providing design consultation services, design work, you are not going to be doing initial consultations for free. You are not doing your first site visit for free, and you are not charging $25 an hour.
Because that 1 hour on-site visit is not the end of the road. Like
Yeah.
you've got the research and the reports and the everything else and your overhead and everything that goes along with it. So it's not just about that 1 hour of time. There's a whole lot more behind it.
Absolutely. And it's also the drive time. So
Yeah.
you're driving to somebody's house, you're spending an hour with them, and then you're driving back home.
Yeah.
And even for me, well, for you too, you must know in London,
Yeah.
depending on where you are in the city, it can take an hour to cross the city.
Fun.
So when I first started, I thought, oh, well, I'm going to give, locals a discount because
Yeah.
they're in the same city.
Yeah.
But it's still an hour of drive time one way.
One way.
So I'm out near the airport. Like I am East London towards Heman's greenhouse.
You're not
So
far
if
from
I'm going to Byron,
Yeah.
or if I'm going to Kamoka or Kilworth, Lambeth,
Yeah.
it's sometimes an hour to get there, one way.
Yeah.
And I was charging $25 for the 1 hour I was there, not charging for the drive time.
No. Or anything else that goes after it.
Or anything else that comes after it. Or the preparation before that, right? Your graph paper, your pencil, your measuring tape, these all have prices. So I wish I had a clear and cut dry, but there isn't. Everybody's price is going to be different.
Yep.
But whoever you are and whoever's listening, I can assure you it's more than $25 an hour. So,
It is. Yep. And I've always been told not to undersell yourself either.
no.
Right? Generally, people that are looking for your services are looking for you because you're a quote unquote expert, right? Like you're claiming to know something about whatever it is you're selling. So
Yeah, if you're a professional, if you provide what you say you're providing and they
Yep.
value your services, you should charge accordingly.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Beth Edney or not. So she is she has her CLD, so Certified Landscape Designer certification that I'm hopefully going to have by the end of this year. I'm
Okay.
studying for the exam this year. Oh gosh.
Is that the
I'm
red
not
seal?
nervous or anything. It's similar. So we don't officially have a red seal in Canada yet for landscape design, but it's going that way. So right now it is in the States. So
Oh,
this is the comparable. So when the red seal does happen in Canada, if you're a CLD, you'll have your red seal.
okay.
Is kind of how it's going. But anyway, Beth Edney, she is very talented and experienced landscape designer. She does have her CLD certification, but this is one of her talks. So she does a talk sometimes online, or Ontario has not familiar if you know the website, there's all these professional development seminars.
Yeah.
Some of them are online.
Yeah.
And one of them that she does is charging for a design or charging for your time. And it
Okay.
is a great talk. I've heard it 4 times and I learn something new every time I listen to it. So
Track it down and see if I can find one.
highly recommend it. But yeah, you are not alone.
No?
I still think every once in a while I'm like, I think I'm not charging enough for this. Or
Yeah.
even I think just yesterday, I was talking to somebody about charging 65 cents per kilometer. So if I'm
Yeah.
doing a horticultural talk, 65 cents an hour.
Yeah.
But I think in Ontario, the range is 65 to 73 cents per hour
Per kilometer?
or per kilometer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
So I'm at the lowest range for
Mm,
that for what I'm charging. And my business coach was like, you're like 5 years in business.
yeah.
You don't need to be doing the 65 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Kilometer, not an hour. Anyway.
Yep.
Um, yeah. Sorry, my brain. I didn't warn you ahead of time. I don't know if you saw any of the other podcast episodes, but sometimes the ADHD is just like, you're talking? Okay, now you're stopping. Full stop.
Move on to the next subject.
Move on to the next subject. So another thing that I like talking about, of course, is mental health. I'm a huge mental health advocate. It's something that's very important to me. And I do think and strongly believe that landscaping and horticulture has a way of healing us,
Yes.
grounding us, getting us back to a level where we can cope and be, right?
Yeah.
And just be.
Yeah. Yeah. Being outside and whether you get your hands actually dirty or not is another matter. I mean, I've read, like I've heard of studies and stuff where they do in hospitals with horticultural therapy and even just
Mhm.
picture behind someone in a wall or, like a mirror or open window or something improves people's health, improves their like mental stability and their health,
Yeah.
just being outside, not even
Yeah.
the ability to go outside. So,
Yeah, because
uh,
there's two very different
mm,
like streams or avenues in horticultural therapy, right? Because there's the passive. So when you're just looking at gardens or looking at pictures of gardens, like
yep.
just flipping through a garden magazine can actually increase your like I don't know, science stuff.
Yeah.
It's all good. I don't know the words.
Or something,
Things are
but yeah.
pure.
Yeah.
And then there's the active. So
Yeah.
whether you're doing it as physiotherapy or you're doing it as a way of meditation, right?
Yep.
Or you're just doing to enjoy it, but physically having your hands in the garden, there's stuff in the soil that is
Yep.
good for us.
That's that's my next thing. Whenever I find myself with some spare time, I really, really would love to become a certified horticultural therapist, but here in Canada, it's very hard to do.
I
Is
would suggest checking out I'm not sure which number it is, but there's a previous episode where I interviewed Gwennifer Kern,
okay.
and she is a horticultural therapist.
It's
So
really, it's really, really amazing to me, but it's a long road to get to be certified. So
absolutely. But she's very open. So
yeah,
just reach out to her, look her up, and I'm like, hey, saw you on the podcast. And she's very interested in helping more people
yeah,
learn about this and what's involved. So, but yeah, something that you mentioned on the questionnaire, and again, you're not the first person to mention it, is the concept of climate anxiety.
yeah, yeah,
So for
sure, real
people,
thing.
it is very much a real thing. So for people tuning in and who doesn't know, might not be familiar with this term, can you explain what climate anxiety is?
So for me, anxiety is the fact that uh, trying to stay positive that our planet is not doomed, in like to make it really, really short, that
Right.
it's not already too late to try and fix what we've done to it and to reverse it so that the human race continues because of the rate we're going. It's really hard to stay even remotely positive that not out of time already.
Right. And it's quite a serious thing. Climate
Yeah.
anxiety, there's environmental depression is another term I've heard it say. And I think something for me that's personally really helped me. So as somebody, I was diagnosed in 2014 with depression, and
Yeah.
I am medicated, thank God. Um, but there's something about landscape design, landscape consultation, where we can help and guide homeowners
Mhm.
to focus on what is within their control,
Yes.
right? Because,
Everything, but you can help what your little area is.
and that I think there's power and magic to that, because I don't think any one or two people are going to change the world. It,
Oh,
it's um it's unrealistic to think that. So, but what we can do, we do have our own plots that
yeah.
we can do the best we can with what we have.
That goes back to being the steward, right? You got to be a better steward of the earth and what the piece that you're taking care of currently to make it better for everybody else.
Absolutely. And the more people who talk like that too, you know, I could just imagine if, 50% of homeowners on one street all thought of themselves as stewards of their property, how would that trickle through society?
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So
So
the
it's
neighborhood that I've moved into is very much a um I probably will quickly become the one with the crazy front yard. Uh,
excellent.
it's one of those neighborhoods where there's a lot of grass, a lot of old cedar hedges. There's a fair number of trees, which is really great, but there's not a lot of um, like flowers, right? There's not a lot of really blooming stuff. There's a lot of really low maintenance hedges, and there's a lot of hostas, and like a lot of that going on here. So,
Yeah.
if I can fix mine, and some of the neighbors go, "Oh, that actually looks nice. Maybe I want to do that to mine too.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to add a little more." So maybe it will spread out, and some more people around will
hmm
start to think that they want to do it too. So
It's nice thinking that we can have that sort of level of influence,
yeah.
right? Not just as, like you and myself, we're both garden professionals, but as homeowners, if we set an example of what biodiversity looks like,
Yeah. And it can
right?
look nice.
It can look nice, and other people will then see it, and we might not even know that we've had an impact on somebody, right? Somebody might just drive by our house and be like, wow, I want to try and do that. Or I'm sure you've probably run into this too as a garden coach and consultant. You show up to a client's house, and on your way out, they're like, "Oh, if you drive or down the street here and check out number 77, I really like that. Like, I kind of want to do something like that." It happens all the time.
I'm the one that drives the neighborhoods, and like I've got my head on a swivel because I am looking at all the neighborhoods, especially when I'm going to do a design, because I mean, it does matter what everybody else is doing in the neighborhood too.
Yep,
Don't want to suggest to somebody that they go wild and crazy if it's not going to be accepted currently
suitable. Yep,
in the neighborhood they're in. If you can kind of push those boundaries a little bit, then they slowly get pushed everywhere else. And
yeah. In design, we sometimes call that like the not the island, like an island effect, right? So if you're on a street where everybody has a woodland native garden,
yeah,
you don't want to be the person that comes in and paves your whole front yard and puts in a boxwood hedge. But the opposite is true.
yeah,
If you move into a boxwood hedge paved parking lot neighborhood, you're probably not going to do a cottage garden out front.
no, no, your neighbors will not be happy with you, but you could do a little bit,
You
and
can do
maybe
a little bit.
it's still quite manicured, but there's some more flowers. There's, a little more mulch going on, something other than just the black mulch. And,
Oh, if we can just please get rid of the black mulch.
there was 8 inches of black mulch on all the gardens at this place.
Okay. You and me together. Heathers unite.
No
Together
more black mulch.
we will rid the city of black mulch.
It's effective, but it's hot and it's dyed, and the natural is so much better. So,
So much better. Yeah, and it holds the heat. Like it's like putting asphalt around your plants. That's all it's doing. So,
although it still breaks down. It still breaks down. I have a content coming up that I have a section of the garden that I found where all they have done for probably the past 40 years is put down mulch.
yeah.
The soil that is strictly the mulch soil compared to the soil in a part of the where I dug up some turf grass is very, very different.
Yeah.
And it was is mulch for 40 years. So
Yeah, still breaks down. I'm always worried about what they treat black mulch with. It's like how much of that is leaked into the soil? Like if you did a soil test,
what's
I'm
there?
always
I
curious
know.
about that. So,
Yep.
lastly, I just wanted to mention because I'm always obsessed with what people are reading.
Yeah.
And so you did mention Joe Gardner or Joe Lampel. He has a number of books
Hmm.
that are out and
Actually read any
available.
of them. I just listen to everything he puts out everywhere, so I haven't read
Okay,
any.
so any of his podcasts or anything that he puts on, you would definitely recommend. But is there like a book or a magazine that you would recommend? Either for life
Well,
or gardening. It doesn't have to necessarily be Hort, but something that you're like, man, this is a good publication. People should check it out.
I tend to live and breathe anything hort these days.
Hmm.
Everything is more centered around that. So, I mean, I do love Doug Tallamy because he's
Oh yes, of
fantastic.
course.
Everybody loves him. I did just read a book, and I wish I could remember her last name, Susan something, and it was all about proper apple tree pruning, sorry.
Oh,
Which, yeah, she's from Toronto. She was on Joe's podcast, so I went, oh, she's from Toronto. I need to check out her book because
yeah.
that's what this tree is behind me, is a
Oh,
very
okay.
mature tree that hadn't been pruned properly. So I needed to figure out how to properly
Yep.
properly go about fixing this overgrown tree with destroying it. So
Yep.
that was a really great book. Susan is her first name, and or the Orchard People is her website.
The
Um,
Orchard People.
so
That
she
sounds like an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
yeah, yeah,
The Orchard People.
Orchard People. Yeah.
Cute.
Yep. She's out of Toronto and teaches at Niagara College as well, I think.
Very nice. Awesome.
Very,
Uh, well, that's about it. That all I had to pick your brain about. I still think this is so cool that you've just started your business. Congrats again. That
thanks.
is a big step for anybody.
Yeah.
Try and go out and do one of these things. Um, yeah, I just think it's really cool that you're doing it. So I do wish you all the best. Do reach out anytime.
Yeah, yeah.
Like us Heathers got to stick together.
Yeah, get sick of me. I'll just keep emailing you. Just
Perfect. Yeah, you know how to reach me now. So, again, this is Heather O'Shea from Greener Thumb, and her website is greenerthumb.ca. So do check it out. And Heather, is there any last words you'd like to leave with our listeners? Anything about horticulture or your business, or any calls to action, or anything you think people should do, check out, try?
not more than what we've already covered about treating the land better that you're on for the moment. Just, think about the chemicals you're putting into it. Think about the amount of water resources you're putting into it, and just be a better steward for the earth.
Just be a better steward. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well said, Heather. Thanks so much for coming on to the show, and I'm sure I will see you around.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, cheers.
Soon.
That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.